Hey guys, welcome to my holiday vlog. So this is our holiday to Dubai. I must tell you it was amazing and probably the best and most fun holiday I have ever been. Now, this is mainly because of two reasons. Number one, it is a beautiful city and you've got to get there and see for yourself to understand how mesmerizing this can get. That's one. Number two, Dubai has too much things to do. When I say too much, we didn't actually even get to tour 20% of the things you can do in Dubai. There's just too many. Too many. So yep, trust me, you're gonna need 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4 and 5 holidays to complete the fun things that you can do in this city. So let's dig in and see what we got up to in Dubai. So first of all, let's talk about the accommodation. Now, a lot of people say that Dubai is quite an expensive city to visit. Now, for me, I have lived in London for a very long time, and so because of that, I would say no, it isn't, because the cost of living over there is quite very similar to London, and some things are actually still cheaper than it would cost you in London. But if most of your holidays has been in Turkey, Greece, most of the Europe countries and African countries, then of course Dubai would be expensive, because even if you're traveling to Greece or Turkey or even the Netherlands, it's still cheaper than what you would spend in London. So, but yeah, let's talk about accommodation. Accommodation in Dubai, as long as you're a tourist, at least in my experience, is very decent. Much more decent than you would ever find in London. Now, our accommodation was from Airbnb, which is always my first choice to go to because it's cheaper and best value for money. The apartment was 15 minutes away from the main Dubai airport, which is where we landed. Included gym, included swimming pool, included a free parking. This accommodation again was just about 7 minutes from Dubai Mall, which is where you've got the Burj Khalifa. Couldn't ask for more. Another 20 minutes or so, or 15 to 20 minutes to Palm Jumeirah, which is again where you've got the man-made island with, what's it called? Burj Al Arab, 7-star hotels, stuff like that. And if you want to shop and don't care much about expensive brand names, or you want to eat without spending too much, because trust me, it's going to get very expensive if you're eating out for 5 days in Dubai in some of those restaurants. So yeah, if that's your aim, then Deira is the good place to go. You can also find good street foods here, something more local and traditional without spending too much. So all of these are very close to the apartments. Deira is just about another 15 minutes from the apartment. So this was all at just £690 for 5 days for 6 people. Although it was just 3 of us, but if it was 6 of you, this will still cost you £690. Which means that if this is 6 people staying at the apartment for 5 days, it would only cost you £115 each for 5 days in Dubai, in the middle of the city, the hub. Tell me if you find such accommodation around Tower Bridge or London Bridge at this same price or similar price. You wouldn't even find it in Peckham, let alone Tower Bridge. And if you do happen to find such accommodation, tell me how much you would have been paying for this same kind of accommodation in London. So the next thing is transportation. Should I hire a car or should I use the public transport? Now, if you want to rent, car rental in Dubai is another mind-blowing cheap. So of course I hired a car. So for the 5 days this cost £115. I also added some extra protection which made the total about £180, and this was just to protect me from any misfueling, or if I were to lose the car key, then I wouldn't need to pay extra, because remember, these are not always included in your standard insurance. And then also this also includes the excess waiver. So I would always recommend to add these things to your car hire when you hire, because you don't want any misfortunes on your holidays and you have to pay a lot more than you intended to. Now, if you have any doubts at all, then yeah, just take the public transport or take the metro line. But for me, I'm quite confident with my driving, so I always tend to drive on every holiday I go to. The car was picked up at the airport and dropped off at the airport again, so just right outside the airport terminal. So this made transportation so convenient, simple, and so affordable for us on our trip as well. Now imagine how much we would have had to pay to travel from the airport to our accommodation and then getting back to the airport on the day we're leaving, and then the whole touring around, if you add all of that up plus the convenience, because remember, that meant that we were always in an air conditioned vehicle through the holiday. So, but if you're taking public transport, at some point you're gonna have to walk to the station, and luckily though, stations are air conditioned, so that's fine. But then on your way there, yeah, you're going to get lashed by the sun, and the heat is crazy. However, be warned though that driving in Dubai is not for the faint-hearted. Driving in cities is always the case like that anywhere you go anyway, so keep this in mind. But I'm going to make a quick short video on things to keep in mind if you're going to be driving in Dubai. So now let's get to the most adventurous part of the trip, and this is of course the most interesting bit of it. Now, I said earlier on there is a lot of things to do in Dubai, and I meant what I said. It is not a joke. Too much things to do in Dubai, and I give you an example. We went to Dubai Mall in 3 separate days, and in those 3 days we really only stayed on the ground floor because there was just too much things to do on the ground floor alone, left alone the top. The mall is so big, and I mean so big that you need an app to find your way around, and trust me, it is not a joke. Even the car park, getting from, you could, if you lose yourself in the car park and you don't have a clue where your car is, the most easiest way you'd be using to find it would definitely be the app, because the app would have a picture of your car. If you put your plate number in, the camera would of course have gotten your plate, and there are cameras in front of probably all the bays, because in any bay that we're parked in, we can see what bay the car was parked, and not just what bay is parked, but you see your car in the bay you parked it in. So it's crazy, it's amazing. So yep, there is a lot to do in that country, and we probably need to go another 2 to 3 times just to get more into the things that you can do there. I'm sure you can. But anyway, let me stop going on. You see, it's getting too exciting. Even talking about this after we had returned, I still haven't gotten over the whole trip. It was a fantastic holiday. So yeah, this was the driving on the desert. So this is a quad bike, of course, and it was fun. It was fun. And after this, we went driving with the SUV off-road cars on the desert, and that was great as well. But I look forward to coming back for the quad bike on the desert. It was fun. Now the desert drive though, would I do that again? Maybe not, simply because it's scary. Trust me, it is scary. It's like driving on the cliff edge, and in the next minute you feel like the car's gonna tip over, but it was fun but crazy. So if you're not the person who is more likely to go on a roller coaster ride and go on the highest one of them and all that kind of things, then don't do the driving on the desert with the SUVs and the off-road vehicles. It's scary. And to make it worse, our driver was probably the most experienced, most craziest, and most adventurous of them all. So he literally leaves everyone at the lower section, goes on the highest part of the desert, and then it was fun. But I would do it again though, just to get a better video from better angle, because from the angle that I shot at, because I didn't expect we were going on yet, so I wasn't even prepared for it. Camera wasn't set yet until I realized we were on it. So yep, the angle doesn't really show the height of the desert. So yeah, I would really love to show it from the driver's perspective so that you can see how high and how much the car leans to the side when you get on top of those hilly sands and that. But yeah, it was fun. But believe me, we never planned any of the adventures, so we kind of stayed close, doing the same, like going to. We spent a whole 3 days just going to the mall because there was just too much to do there as well, and it was close to our apartment. So, but if you've got yourself planned out, you probably can't even do it all anyways, because yeah, it gets quite expensive eventually. But that's why again you want to go on multiple trips rather than one. So yeah, we didn't plan ourselves, we didn't plan the adventures, we just kind of took it as it went. And after the desert drive, we then went to have some evening dinner in the desert as well, which also included camel ride. So I mean, the best way to enjoy this is probably book a tour package that includes the whole of this, which is what we've got. And but if you wanted to go and do this on your own without a tour package, you can also do it. You just get a car, drive to the location, and you can book one of the quad bikes. Yeah, it was crazy, it was fun, and I look forward to doing this again. But remember, roller coasters, if you're not fans of it, don't go on the off-road desert drive in those SUVs. You probably would vomit. At some point I found myself screaming, I think we need a break. The guy did not even make like it, he heard me. So yeah, but it was good, so yep. So after completing the activity on the desert, we come here to then clean our feet with the compressor and get the sands off your body. So yeah, now at this point we then drove down to another destination. Now this was the point where we had the Arabian Night. So by the time we got to that destination, it was night, or it was dark. So that was the whole intention for this next activity. So some performance, dance, and fireworks by some individual person who was part of his performance. So the seating system here depends on the kind of ticket you have. If you have a VIP ticket for this performance or this Arabian Night, then you'll be sitting in an enclosed section of the field, which has air conditioning and that. But the problem with it is that you'll be quite a little far from the podium, so from the performance. Now, so if that to you air conditioning is much more important, then yes, you would probably want to do that, especially if you've got kids or someone who really has more issues with the heat. Then yeah, but the good thing is you don't have to have paid for that in advance. You can upgrade at the event or on the location itself.
For the Emir of Dubai.
And after this beautiful night, the next day we went out again for another fun day. But this time around, it was a ride on the yacht. No shoes. It's good for me. I've got. Hello. Thank you.
Guests over the years on this very yacht have included Britain's very own Prince Harry, we've had Damon Hill, the frequent visitor Martin Brundle, we've also had top icons Brianna, Craig David and Elisa Dixon, plus and present superstar Jenny. Look at the fabulous Caesar Palace Hotel with its beach club. It's full of the most skyscrapers, only a few meters shorter than the Eiffel Tower and nearly twice as
Thank you.
You know, if she got into it, she asked me, she don't do something that, because she doesn't mean when she comes down, she sounds like this. How do you expect me behind?